where are they going to be focusing their draft? Are they just going to try and focus on taking away those comfort picks? We know Slimy Salamanders as a roster. We know a lot of these players and their comfort picks from 3v3. So there's a lot of opportunities to do that. But you see again, the Celeste going to be the first pick. Rogue with Evol in the mid lane. That's something that we haven't said until last week. So making that transition, that was what he played last week as well. So obviously going to be one of his comfort picks in the mid lane.
I think out of all the heroes making role swaps on the Sovereign's Rise, I was most impressed with Evol in the mid lane. His mechanics seemed very good. Everyone knows that he's a mechanical mastermind as far as his skill goes. Definitely one of the best captains. Back on the Halcyon full, but now that he's in that mid lane, I think that a lot of those are going to translate. It's all about him expanding his hero pool and making sure that he's on a lot of these mage-based heroes, which are a very different playstyle from a lot of the captains that he's used to.
Yeah, exceptionally different. The positioning as well going to be very important. As a captain previously, you want to be in the thick of things. You want to be in the middle of these fights. Not so with a lot of these mages. So last week we saw, again, started off a little bit shaky, but as the game went on, he looked to get more and more comfortable. But of course, it's only one piece of the puzzle. You have to have a team around you, and that's where something like this Taka is going to be coming in, taking these picks that are hard counters to the Celeste away from their opponents.
Yeah, and not just taking away these hard counters, but if Slimy Salamanders tries to take anything that's very long range and very squishy, Taka is going to be very punishing of that. I really like Slimy answering with the Samuel and the Tony. Those are great picks. Idris seeing a lot more play, especially out of North America here today as well. So we saw it in jungle in that first matchup on Isle of Joseph. I don't know if I was sold on how strong it was as a pick in and of itself. Of course, anytime Idris scales into the late game and he gets his items underneath him, he is going to be an absolute monster. But I don't think the correct answer is to try and take those late game scaling heroes. You want these heroes that are winning the game early and often and pushing through these objectives.
At least in the jungle. I like the Idris in the lane because you're getting a lot more gold that way. You're getting to those items much quicker. In the jungle, I completely agree with you. I think you need that early game heroes, the heroes that rely a little bit more on levels as opposed to getting gold. Things like, that's why the Krull and the Taka have been so strong, because they're just all about getting those levels. The Rona going to come through here for the side of Rogue as well, so likely to be the Taka in the jungle. We've occasionally seen Takas in the lane, but I expect this Rona to be in the top lane. You expect to have the Taka jungle. The captain, Arden, again, I'm still really big on the Arden as a captain, even though it hasn't been seeing the most playtime. I still feel it's one of the top captains.
Definitely. I think Rogue has left himself a lot of opportunity across the entire map in terms of how they can flex out the rest of this draft if they wrap things up. Grace, another pick we've seen a lot of today. I would assume it would be in the top lane again for Slimy Salamanders as well. Max Green, a very unconventional build though. All he had was a Storm Crown and defense for the vast majority of the game. He wrapped up his build with a Shadow Glass, which of course, the utility that comes out of the size of that additional healing, super strong. The Divine Intervention on Grace scales with a Shadow Glass. Do you think we're going to see something similar out of the Grace this game?
I would expect to see a little bit more damage coming from Slimy Salamanders. Usually you want to have a little bit more bruiser type, especially going up against a Rona. If you try and build pure defense in a lane matchup against a Rona, she's just going to tear through you. So I think there will be a need for a little bit more offense out of the Grace. Rogue, I like the fact they banned away this Blackfeather as well. Again, keeping Evol safe. The Blackfeather and Taka are the two strongest counters to the Celeste, and they have made sure that Slimy Salamanders will not be getting either of them. So I like the way that they're drafting around Evol. They want him to be this hard carry for the team, and they're setting him up to succeed.
Yeah, I think that's really good insight. And it's not just Evol himself. It's the fact that this team has recognized how strong Celeste is, that if you can just protect her, if you don't give the team any direct counters to Celeste, she's going to carry the game for you, assuming Evol plays it well, which we definitely know that he can. And a Catherine on top of that. This is going to be an insane front line that's going to be very, very difficult for Slimy Salamanders to even try and get through.
I love the Catherine into the Idris. In 3v3, we talk about all the time, Catherine was the hard counter to an Idris. I think that still holds true to an extent on 5v5. So like you mentioned, that big, beefy front line, it's all about protecting the Celeste with this composition.
Well, now that the picks are in, let's zero in on the players that we need to watch for this one. Flash, please.
Louis Vuitton Don coming out of the side of Rogue, definitely one of the newer guys coming into the VPL. Had a great week 1 start. He can definitely step it up and continue to develop that just a little bit more. But yeah, he played really well, especially on this glaive in this first game. His afterburns were absolutely on point. He was always making sure he was getting onto the heroes, leading to a fat triple kill against Nova Esports right there. And then just, again, more glaive gameplay, making sure that he's putting out the most amount of damage for his team possible.
Yeah, this was one of these guys I saw numerous teams wanting to acquire him, wanting to get his services on their roster, and it is for a reason. He is such a strong up-and-coming talent. But on the other side of the rise, we have to talk about XenoTech coming onto this roster last minute as Pico's no longer on the team. It is now going to be XenoTech going forward. And this is a guy that, again, we've seen throughout the scene. He's been on numerous teams before, but has never quite been able to get that real winning combination. And with the way Slimy Salamanders have looked, if the synergy he's going to have with a lot of these players, you know, he's played with Rekt, he's played with Iraqi Zoro, he's played with a lot of these guys before on other teams. So that synergy should already be there right from the get-go.
All right, well, the game is just about to start, but we have time for a quick thought on today's matchup. This is a contest between 2 Titans, undefeated teams. What's going to be the key to the match?
Definitely making sure that they're executing their objective control.
Yeah, objective control, and again, keeping your carry safe. Both teams are focusing on just 1 or 2 damage dealers.
Awesome. Well, we are live right now on the game. All right, let's.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I believe we are live and into the second match of the day for North America here in the second week. We have Rogue versus the Slimy Salamanders. I'm Humanist, and I'm here with Denominate. Noms, this is going to be a pretty good matchup.
Yeah, definitely should. Rogue came through with some really fantastic plays last weekend, specifically Evil here on this Celeste. Very, very good at recognizing when the enemies are channeled together, and we all know what Celeste can do when you all sit on top of each other. So we'll have to see if Rogue can have a similar performance this week, as we've got a pretty difficult opponent. Slimy Salamanders has been one of those top teams, but they do get a little bit sloppy into the later stages of the game, so I'm interested to see how they can really have an effect on that now that they have XenoTech here on the roster.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see how that's going to play out as well. I mean, already off the bat, it's just kind of interesting rotation, a little bit different than what we've been seeing is all 5 of the Salamanders shoved mid and then immediately split across the map instead of fighting over like the early scout cam or movements into the jungle.
Yeah, and Status has done a great job. He was the one to invade and is going to be able to get level 2. He's taking away the treants as well, which is going to give him some healing, give him a pretty decent level spike, and that's going to be a good start there for Status. Already approaching level 3 here, just 2 minutes into the game.
Well, Status is going to be going ham on this Idris, and I'm excited to see Status back to a position where he can regain his former glory. One of my favorite all-time Vainglory players. And across the map, it's going to be pretty normal. What would you be expecting? Louis Vuitton Don down here in bot up against XenoTech. I think both these heroes can pretty much stand their ground unless rotations happen. I wouldn't expect any solo kills to happen there unless they get into one of those kind of like chicken situations where they just duke it out to the death.
Yeah, we'll have to see, as now the Salamanders, they are coming through their own jungle. They are starting to clear that out. Status already approaching level 4 and has the gold in pocket to get that heroic perk active, the Divergent Path, that's going to give him those ranged attacks. He's also picked himself up some boots, which means he's likely going to be looking for a gank attempt here in the near future.
All right, boots are out. Status boosted up and ready to go pretty much at this point. In the meantime, it's now, you know, Denominate, you're the color caster, you are the analyst here. How are we calling the player of month's name?
I believe he requested to go by Jason, so that's for future reference in this match. When we say Jason, we are talking about JFMAM, JJASN.
We're talking about Raffle LeMail, 4 the splash damage, 2 first bloods, the double blood coming on through is the old men collapse down and delete 2 from Rogue. What players?
Yeah, 2 kills on the board here early. The Salamanders taking that lead. One going over to Iraqi Zoro, and the other one getting picked up by Status. He did not even have to use that boots proc, so he will still be
He's
looking.
looking for more. He's on to Jesus. Jesus, run! No, the chakram, the basic attack. Status getting an easy kill. He's got that weapon buff on him, and Sibs is gonna look up, get up here to try and force him back out of the lane. He'll get stunned up by old man Jason, young man Jason. Status is gonna respect this, force out. Mixi just stays in the lane, keeps shoving the lane down. Now Rekt has made the rotation up to top as well. Are they gonna be able to catch someone? Are they gonna taunt it back? Sibs with the healing flask at the last minute, baiting and then jumping back in. Sibs living on the edge here as the Salamanders continue to apply pressure. The turret taking a lot of damage here. Jesus back up into the lane. You gotta respect this talk at this point. Now is Status just baiting here? What's happening?
Well, unfortunately, I cannot see the flask cooldown, and I've missed if he's used it yet. I assume with how forward he was playing, he's probably still got it. But here we go. Here comes Rogue.
Who's got it now? Mixi, a squishy target, but able to reposition and get back. Status in the meantime drops back. He's gonna go ahead and get that healing regen, and then now move back up into the lane. This turret's gonna be in a bad place. Also, Jason's low, Sibs is low, and Iraqi Zoro. He's made the rotation up, drifting dark. The Malice and Verdict is gonna splash on through. I'm pretty sure Rogue are gonna be forced back. They should be losing this turret.
Yeah, they most certainly should with the 4-member rotation coming out of the Salamanders. Excellent play out of Iraqi Zoro there. Forced up the mid wave, made that rotation, and Celeste does not have the damage yet, nor the wave to actually put any sort of hurt on that turret, as we see only a sliver of the health gets taken. Now Iraqi Zoro returning to the mid lane with Rekt, who's going to be on that Captain Tony, who we saw have a fantastic performance in the last game, and now they found Evil. Can they get the kill?
Oh, they found him! But Evil not having any of that trash talk right now, showing great discipline.
Yeah, absolutely. Good boots out of him to avoid that trash talk. Gets him out alive. Otherwise, certainly, that would have been another kill going over to Iraqi Zoro. But now here comes Rekt, Mixi, and Iraqi. They're coming in.
What a core collapse.
Good stun. Yeah, excellent play out of Evil there.
Excellent. I like to predict this, that like even if it's not going to follow to anything, it's always nice to see just a skill shot land. Now Iraqi in the drifting dark. You see the Catherine move up, the huge damage comes on through. Jason goes down. Now the damage starts to pile up onto this turret here. And the Salamanders taking a few turret shots. They're going to respect it, wait for the next wave to get on down here. But this is a 4 versus 2 situation here. Rogue feeling thin across the map.
Yeah, and Status right now is a very scary threat that the side of Rogue have to deal with. With that weapon buff, this Idris is...
Oh, he got the Vanguard, but taunted back. What a play. He just got wrecked.
Yes, he absolutely did. Sibs is going to fall there. 2 kills on the board for Iraqi and Status, and 1 on the board for Mixi. 5-0 lead right now for the Salamanders. Not a whole lot going in on the bottom lane down here, but oh, that Solar Storm almost taking out Xenotech. Not quite gonna do that final little bit that he needed, but still gonna force him back.
Forced back, maybe he'll take a little bit of jungle. In the meantime, Jesus was making a little space up in the top lane, playing games with Rekt and Mixi, not able to collapse and hunt this Taka down. So now he gets in their jungle, looking to take something away. Doesn't find anything. Just kind of the rotations in between the lane movements here.
Yeah, and I specifically like the rotations that the Salamanders have made moving forward on the top lane specifically. We know what a threat that Taka can be. This is on 3.1, so Taka making it through the draft at all is actually kind of surprising. But knowing that is what's happened, they've gone ahead, made sure they make the rotations up. They've starved Taka out as much as possible. And that's going to be Status picking up another kill.
Status just threw a chakram through and just deleted Louis Vuitton.
I mean, Status is hella fed right now, in all honesty. He's super fed.
Up, dude. Go kill somebody. Status, if you go farm right now, I will take back everything I've ever said good about you. I wouldn't do that to Status, but I was betting it.
He's not going to go get the kill yet, but they are going to secure that Ghost Wing. That is going to give them that additional regenerating barrier, which can have a huge effect in the team fights. You see them all kind of grouping up a little bit as far as Rekt and Iraqi are moving back together. Status making an aggressive push down here in the jungle, though.
He's gonna look for the chakram. Shroud step back, reposition. There's a jump forward. Xenotech missing with the Holy Nova, but the chase might continue here. Salamanders looking to catch a target. Bottom boom's gonna knock Evo into the jungle. Is he isolated enough that they can follow up? He takes a little bit of chip damage, but not too much. Now it's a 5-man rotation from the Salamanders. Aces high will connect onto Evo. How did that connect in the middle of the fight? They put Sims to sleep. Cancel the gauntlet. Shimmer strike forward. His status is going ham. Don't find 3 kills. They don't lose anybody. In the meantime, Jesus is up in the top lane, pushing as his team yells, Jesus, help us! But he can't. All he can do is push as this Taka. He can't stop this domination that's coming out of the Salamanders.
You know, in the time frame that he had, I do think Taka pushing that top turret was the right call. Picks his team up 2 extra turrets worth of gold. The Taka alone at that point in the fight would not have been able to come and save that central turret. They did not lose their armory, but hopefully it's enough to get Evil online. We see the Shattered Glass complete, but he's not going into that Clockwork second item, which is what we typically see out of Celeste. The ability to spam out those Heliogenesis a little bit faster, and the energy regeneration, definitely something that Evil is going to need in these fights.
He definitely will, but I mean, you hit on the point, right? Like, as a Celeste, if you're going into Eve as your second item, then it means like either you're doing great in the game or you're just like, shit, I need to actually sustain myself because I'm not going to be killing anybody. But this is a way that you can kind of hold lanes, keep yourself in a fight, and that's what he's going to be doing. So it's going to be the 3rd item impact for him as the game goes on. Salamander is looking to potentially collapse down into bottom as Louis Vuitton done, and it's going to be Jesus getting forced back here. 9-0, 10 minutes in though, the Salamanders have a commanding lead at this point.
Yeah, they do, and you can specifically see that in some of the builds. We have almost a 10,000 gold lead at this point for the Salamanders. Taka, while he does have some defense and the Storm Crown, he is lacking any actual team fight damage.
Boom to start the fight off. Jesus, he's gonna stay alive, but just barely. A nice gauntlet by Sibs, splitting this fight apart. They're both dropping down low, but nobody's died just yet. All on a nice edge. Jesus first to drop. Wrecked will go down second. Xenotech tries to stand his ground, but Rogue will be able to find the second kill of that fight, second kill of the game. In the meantime, though, Mixi and Iraqi Zoro able to shove down the top lane. They're going to take that first base turret down and get out cleanly. So a nice call out of the Salamanders, but it does allow Rogue to at least pick up 2 kills.
Yeah, they pick up 2 kills, and when you're behind, going even or even just getting anything is really beneficial. Status actually was able to clean up the kill onto Evil in the lane. So 2 for 2 trade, but that turret objective does go over to the Salamanders. So Rogue, they pick themselves up a couple bounties, but is it going to be enough to get them really back into a controllable part of this game? As Status, rubbing the salt in the wounds down here, takes that healing camp right underneath the nose of Louis Vuitton, and he's now going to regroup with his team, looking for another Ghost Wing.
Looking for the steal, Sibs! Flash's protege, not able to get in there and steal that away. It's okay, right? Not the end of the world. They're still, Rogue are still definitely in this game, even though they're kind of on the back foot, right?
Yeah, they definitely are. Anytime you have a Celeste, there's still a possibility for you to win. Even if, realistically, all 3 of your armories are destroyed, you can find a fight where if Celeste is able to get that big Helio damage and pick off a couple kills, then you can start to turn things around, specifically if Black Claw is on the map, which we're still a couple minutes shy of. So if they can hold out, as Evil is getting into a little bit further portion of his build, he's got the Shattered Glass, went the Spellfire second, and while that does help with that mortal wound, he just doesn't have the complete spamming capability that we typically see out of a Celeste at this point in the game, and Status is absolutely just having an insane game right now.
Blast Tremor will buy a little bit of time. It looked like Rogue was potentially going to be losing heroes at this point. The armory dropping incredibly low, but the Salamanders are going to go ahead and reposition. Now, this is a 4 versus 5 for the Salamanders, as they have Xenotech down in that bottom lane, chunking through turrets in the meantime. So if they can keep the heroes pinned up here, if they can keep Rogue pinned up in this top lane, it would be great for them. Louis Vuitton rotating down. He's going to force Xenotech out. So now a clean 4 versus 4 situation. Armory, one more hit. It would be going down. A nice body block by Jesus, but it eventually will go on down. So Rogue hanging around here, but really not getting anything done. They don't get any kills. They don't protect the armory, and nothing else taken across the map.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. Salamanders once again regrouping. Black Claw will be on the map in about a minute and a half, so we'll have to see if we even make it to a Black Claw take to end this game. As we see the remains of the Rogue base right now starting to look pretty injured right now, I guess is the easiest and nicest way to put it. As that top armory has been destroyed. Again, Taka just never got to that mid-game spike that he really needed, never got the chance to actually push that top lane in the lane phase. And I think that's really been part of where Rogue has suffered the most, is Taka has really not had any sort of impact. He's been unable to get any good ganks onto Iraqi Zoro or Mixi, and it's just Salamanders in complete control of these team fights. There's we have the Storm Crown on the Taka. We also have the Carry Arden, who only has a Storm Crown and an Aftershock. So just there's not a ton of damage, sustainable damage for the side of Rogue right now.
Rogue, a little bit of pop damage coming on onto Iraqi. They turn it around. Iraqi with the Corrupted Genius keeps himself in fighting shape as the splash damage starts to rain on through Rogue. They're going to lose the turret. Look to get back. Aces High just threading the needle kind of off the mark there. Not threading the needle in the way you would have liked it. And looks like they'll go ahead and get back off the back of that one. But they're at the point now, Denominate, where it's like, this game's throwable, right? Like Salamanders couldn't have thrown the game until they were at this point. They have the lead. Now we could see the exciting plays.
Yeah, we absolutely could, as another Ghost Wing is going to go over to the Salamanders as Sibs tries to make the steal.
That was actually
well
a nice attempt, much closer than last time.
Yeah, well, he made it out this time.
Yeah.
So that's pretty
he made
beneficial
it in this time too.
Yeah. So there's always that. But another Crystal Treant is going to go over to the Salamanders. Now Black Claw is on the map. There's no vision here by the side of Rogue. The Solar Storm is down for another 18 seconds, almost coming down to that 15 mark. And now it's just going to be a fight chosen by the Salamanders.
Get over here! Who are they going to go for? It looks like Jason first. That's the Cat, the tankiest target on the team, dropping down low. Fountain comes out to the last minute. Looks like they turn it to Louis Vuitton. Louis starts to spin, stays alive, but the Fountain comes out for the Salamanders as this fight gets absolutely turned around. Rogue on the run, dropping all across the map here. Taunts off the mark, but Evil, he's got nowhere to go. The slimy Salamanders able to take 4. They'll shove down mid lane, and honestly, they can just close this game out right here and right now.
Yeah, they absolutely can. With 4 down, there is no contest here for the Vayne, and that's going to be Salamanders taking the game here over Rogue. Unfortunately, Celeste just never really had the chance to have a big impact. Status went absolutely off this game. 8-0-6 here on the jungle. Idris, Shattered Glass, Alternating Current, Broken Myth was able to get the picks early on and keep the wave forced up in that top lane. And again, kept the Taka behind. Taka never had